Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Cadillac with Cadillac Law, coming back to you with another, I'm sure, incredibly exciting topic. And actually, this topic hits a lot of folks throughout the whole country. So it is an important topic, and I definitely want to discuss it with you. Before we get into that, of course, nothing I say here creates an attorney-client relationship. I am not giving you legal advice. I am simply telling you about what I've learned over time. Okay, so today's topic is the reverse mortgage. All right, what a reverse mortgage is when someone has paid off their house or they have just a ton of equity. Maybe they bought the house for 15, 20,000. It's now worth 300, whatever. And they're elderly maybe, and they want an income. They can go get a reverse mortgage, which will provide an income to them. Basically, they're selling their house to the mortgage company, and the mortgage company is letting them live there rent-free and accruing interest on the property. Why would a mortgage company let them live rent-free? Well, because the catch is, after that person passes away, the property is then owned by the mortgage company that allowed that person to live there. So the mortgage company is doing this because not only can they charge interest, but they can accrue the equity in the property. So in my original scenario, when grandma bought it for 15,000, now it's worth 300. The mortgage company can come in at 300, and then knowing if grandma lives another decade, it's going to be worth 5, 6, 700,000. So I get a lot of folks who call and say, mom, dad, grandma, uncle, cousin, whoever had a reverse mortgage, and then they passed away. What do we do? What do we need to do? And my advice is usually absolutely nothing. You do nothing. It's their house. In order to save a house, to keep it in the family that has a reverse mortgage on it, the family has to pay off the mortgage within 6 months. Most families don't have a couple $100,000 lying around. Typically, if you're in a reverse mortgage, you didn't have a large savings. Your wealth is in your house. So it would be logical then that maybe the rest of your family does not just have, a couple $100,000 or however much the amount is sitting around to pay that off. So if it's not paid off in 6 months, the property just reverts back to the mortgage company. Now, a lot of people think this is awful. And the way they went about these for many years was predatory, absolutely was awful. However, the person who has paid off that house, who is living in that home, it is their home. So they can do whatever they want to do with their property. Okay. So it just drives me nuts when heirs call and they're so upset. It's like, it's not even yours. Okay. Go buy your own house. All right. Your grandma can do whatever she wants. She worked hard to earn that property, and she can do what she wants with it. Now, that being said, again, a lot of times these are quite predatory. They do go after older folks because that's who has the equity in their house. And a lot of times they can take advantage of those people. So if you have a family member who's considering a reverse mortgage, I would work with them to consider a way to not do it, to not enter into it, maybe to find funding and money in another way. If you have a family member that is in a reverse mortgage, then now is the time to start talking about how will we get the funds to pay this off. I mean, if your whole family agrees and you can transfer the title really quickly, which we can do here in Texas at least, then you can go refinance it, right? You can get a real bank with a normal mortgage and pay off the other one. But most families, within 6 months of someone passing, they're not cohesive enough. They don't have a game plan enough to be able to do that. And they end up losing the property to the mortgage company because it belongs to the mortgage company. It wasn't actually theirs, right? It was their deceased grandparent. That grandparent decided what they wanted to do with their own property. And then this is the result of that decision. So while I can understand it would be frustrating, you're not going to get an inheritance. It was never yours to begin with. Okay. So if you want something, you got to go get it on your own. In terms of reverse mortgages, if you have a family member who had one, you're gonna need to pay it off within 6 months of their passing. And if you have a family member who's like looking into them, researching them, thinking about doing one, try to steer them away from it. Try to see if there's not another way to find funding, to find money for that family member's needs. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something. Make sure you hit like and subscribe.